All right, Leo, it looks like you guys are needing to create some big space in your life right now. So, from the Halloween Oracle, the underworld, where all things pause and begin again, and then the cosmos from hidden realms, creativity and vastness. When you're looking at the underworld, it's talking about considering exactly what you have to do to transform your life into something that you find easier or more authentic to you. And it's saying that you need to keep moving here, even though things may feel like they're falling away from your life and your life feels bare, it's only temporary. Space is being made into which you can create the new, and the new is unlimited here with the cosmos. Now, the cosmos doesn't have a challenge. There's only the ally here, but it did show up in the upright for you. Now, the cosmos is saying that you need to remind yourself to open up to the well of creativity deep within you and be mindful of your thoughts and actions. Both are influencing your outer world. But most important, you need to keep taking action. You gotta keep going. There are things that you need to clear out of your life. All right, Leo. Here's your overall for the week. Oh boy. Getting right to the point. Lovers. And we'll see how this is playing out. So we're either talking about major life choices and changes here, absolutely, with the oracle cards, or we're talking about a relationship here, a very significant one. Now, in the past, the Two of Pentacles. So for you, with this being the past, I talk about flexibility when it comes to this card. But not just being flexible in the situation, but, are you bending over backwards for the benefit of somebody else? Are you, constantly trying to keep things going? Are you having difficulty with that, right? That bothers me a little bit, but are you looking at it now? Because this is what you were doing in the past, possibly in regards to a relationship. In the present, the Nine of Wands. I look at this one a little bit differently than Thelema. This one, to me, very much has the feeling of the wall being built up around you and not wanting to let things in. Being on guard, right? And I don't think that it's about, what you're needing to protect. It's just that you're not wanting to let anything through. So my question then is, what is it that you're blocking out? And it's not that you're blocking out, continuing the juggling act, because I think that you're still doing that. I think that you're blocking everything else out and nothing is coming through to you because you're too busy trying to keep everything going. Oh, yeah. Okay, so future conditions, the Six of Swords, you needing to move on. And this one is interesting to me because the weight of this choice will be on you. But the thing is this is something that, you may have to do here in order to get to, peace and calmness. Now, this could just be that for some of you, you're in a financial situation here where, you're limited on what you can actually do, but you need to move on, which is possible. And then for some of you, this could just be whatever conflict is surrounding your relationship right now. It's time to let the wall down and kind of deal with that and move on from it. Especially if you feel like you're the one being flexible and trying to keep everything going here. But I don't know, I kind of get the feeling that some of you are really, really like blocking something out. But it's only because you're having to maintain things the way they are now. Your best path to follow, the King of Swords, right? Like, think clearly, think practically. And it's not that you need to be harsh or cruel. You do need to be careful about, being emotionally detached. Because we're not looking at the King of Cups. If the King of Cups would have shown up, I would have been like, okay, we need to kind of keep the emotions under control here. Being emotionally detached is not going to help the situation. But you do need to look at things, logically. Now, for some of you, right, this could be seeking advice. With the King of Swords, we could be talking about counsel, which could mean attorney, it could mean a counselor, marriage counselor, which is possible, right? But, be careful. Be careful about, being so shut off that you don't have an emotional response anymore. In your environment, the Seven of Wands, I'm telling you, you're not letting shit in. Nothing's coming through. With the Seven of Wands, this is you needing to speak up and stand your ground. And this could be because of other people who may be seeing your situation and going, why are you doing this? Why are you doing this to yourself? And you're like, you don't understand. You don't know. Back off. Let me just be. Let me just be with keeping my wall up and keeping everything out. I'm too busy here. I'm too busy trying to keep things going and figure things out. I do. I kind of get that feeling. Now for some of you, you may be getting a little bit fed up. And it may be that, you're not wanting to do this anymore, this balancing act, walking on eggshells, And now it's like you're speaking up. But I do think that for some of you, it may be other people that see your situation that are going, what's wrong with you? And you're like, oh no, you don't understand. Leo. Yeah. Your hopes and your fears, the Five of Cups. If we're talking about, just let's say for instance here, we're talking about a relationship, okay? And you have been like tiptoeing around, trying to keep everything in balance, whether that's financially or, emotionally, or just trying to keep everything going in terms of this relationship, right? With the Five of Cups, there is emotional disappointment in what you don't have or what you feel like you have lost. And I don't think that this relationship has ended. I think that some of you are looking to move on. But the reason why we're looking at the King of Swords is because emotionally you're in a bad place, but you're shutting it out. And that can become an issue. But I still think, though, that if some of you are seeking counsel here, it may be due to the fact that you are disappointed and certainly not happy, The hope would be to get over this now, to get over these kinds of, emotions that are dragging you down. Because with the Six of Swords, again, you're moving on to this. You're moving on to a more calmer emotional state. My God, if I could talk right. But it's still, being very much a part of a relationship here. Because I'm looking at the Two Cups, the lovers, but there is unfulfillment here. There's unhappiness. And maybe some of you do need to seek like counseling or support or advice or maybe an attorney, which is possible here. Possible. And Jesus Christ. Coming out, the King of Cups. And that kind of goes back to what I was saying before. Now, this may be about the person that you're dealing with. For some of you, you may have been trying to keep a situation going within a relationship here that, I kind of feel like you felt like you didn't have a choice but to do. With someone who may have at one point become emotionally detached. But if you're seeking advice and seeking counseling and speaking up about what you're going through and how you're feeling, it may be that with this King of Cups, they become a little bit more emotionally available to you. All right, yeah, things need to change, and they need to change right now. The Tower. The Tower with the Two of Pentacles and looking at the King of Cups. I think for you, this is getting to the point where things need to drastically and suddenly change. And like I'm seeing that big time coming out with this. Now with the Tower, with the Two of Pentacles, you may have been trying to avoid this. Not wanting to have to deal with, things abruptly changing. And it may be because you didn't want to face your emotions involving it, or maybe you just didn't want to do it, period. But with the Two of Pentacles, you're still continuing to keep things going, even though things are collapsing. But like I said, it's like you're trying to avoid it, or were at one point. With the Eight of Pentacles looking at the Nine of Wands, this is you working, busting your ass, not letting anything else through here. Fighting off the opposition of people saying, what the fuck are you doing? Why are you doing this to yourself? You're like, you don't understand. You don't understand. I have to do this. And that's all you're focused on. That is all you're focused on. And like I said, for some of you, you may be doing this because financially you don't have a choice. But putting a lot of time and effort into having to, defend what you're choosing to do. That's ridiculous. And then looking at the Six of Swords and the Eight of Wands, things need to change, and they need to change right fucking now. Like right now. Somebody needs to start at being a little bit more supportive, I feel like. Needing to be a little bit more available, needing to be a little bit more open here. In order for you to move on from the conflict of trying to avoid absolute destruction. I do think that, this is going to have to do with the Leos out there that, are dealing with a relationship where you are needing some advice, some counseling. I don't necessarily feel like you're leading to divorce. Now, some of you may be considering that, considering moving on. But, as far as major life choices here, if we're talking about a work situation and constantly having to defend your position here, it may be that, you need to be open to making a big change, especially if you're not happy. And that's the big thing here with the Five of Cups. And the thing is the question then becomes, are you still going to be happy? Are you still going to be happy coming out? Are things going to change, right? And the Queen of Swords. All right, for those of you who are single, true love, right? The problem is, when you're looking at the Eight of Swords, you're talking about somebody who's being put in an uncomfortable position, okay? And it's based on temptation, because you got the devil in the background there, right? Now, the problem is that this may be a true love situation, but with the Three of Swords being connected to that, they are involved somewhere else. And you may not be comfortable with being involved with another person here, regardless of the fact of it being true love or not. Because, they're not getting away from a situation that they need to. When you're looking at the Three of Swords, it's, needing to grab the balls here to move on from a situation instead of, watching it happen around you. And I don't think that some of you are comfortable with being in a cheating scenario. But the thing is it may head that way based on the fact that some of you are feeling like this is the romance of a lifetime, right? I would be careful with that. I would be careful with that because you don't want to put yourself in an uncomfortable spot. I don't think that the other person has a problem with it. Because I'm looking at Leo singles. Now, We could flip the script on this. Some of you who may actually be in a relationship, but you have true love somewhere else, but it's not exactly, something that you should be doing, right? But that could just be how you're feeling about it because of the Eight of Swords, right? Believe me, no judgment on my part. It's just that, third-party situations are never fun. Somebody is eventually going to get hurt. Now, for those of you who are in a relationship, keep an open mind. Some of you are having to keep an open mind because the person that you're dealing with may be really cold and shut off, or maybe really focused on, someone else. With the Queen of Swords, though, this may be you. This may be you being a little bit cold, a little bit turned off, a little bit shut off, because you may feel like, the person that you're looking at is not what you had expected as far as a soulmate goes, and you're needing to keep an open mind. But, if you are dealing with somebody who is focused on somebody else, it may be because they've gone through a really difficult time. And it may be that you just need to keep an open mind here because, nobody ever expects to get involved with somebody who is continuously focused on an ex. Give it a minute, right? They may get over it. Because I kind of see that with her. But damn, Leo, man. Right, and general message, it's only going to be for some of you, but I do think that, you need to, stop trying to avoid the inevitable here because things are going to have to change or you're going to have to move on. It's one or the other. Because with the Five of Cups being there, what you're dealing with now is not bringing you happiness, that's just continuing to be unfulfilled and disappointed and just, it's not good. And if somebody, is going to start becoming more emotionally available to you, right? That's great. But there are things that you're going to have to move on from, which is kind of where I feel like with the King of Swords here, we're looking at counseling. Right? But it's all up to you on whether or not you want to continue to do this or if you just want to continue to block out everything that, may be coming through as far as the Seven of Wands and people going, why are you doing this? Maybe it's time to take a look at that and where you may not be feeling very good about the situation that you're in.